Life? Life? Yes. Welcome back to another Readings by Candlelight, hosted by yours truly, Keith, your man of letters, here to bring you knowledge, information, and entertainment. As per usual, if you guys are not watching this live, check in about 10 minutes from the start of this video. 10 to 15 minutes tends to be the time when we kick things off. We kind of BS in the beginning, gives us enough time to pour a glass of wine, roll up some oregano, merry make. So, yeah, thanks for being here. Otherwise, now is the countdown for the squad to get here. Also, if you guys are new, feel free to subscribe to the channel. We do lots of readings by candlelight. We do dream analysis. We do live dream stories and stuff. We talk about the occult. We talk about science. We talk about how the two come together to form truly magical things. We challenge the status quo here at Man of Letters, but not just the mainstream status quo. We challenge everything. We challenge spirituality. We challenge spiritual leaders. We challenge gurus. We challenge all beliefs because it defines us. We are defined by that which we bump up against. We are defined by our opposites. And it is not until we are forced to argue our sides, not until we are forced to define what we believe in, do we know what we actually believe in, who we are, how we have the perceptions that we have, where those perceptions came from. Are they ours? Maybe they are our perceptions. Maybe they are our choices on how we wish to see the world. But maybe those perceptions that we decided to have don't fit us anymore. Maybe it's time for something new. And those are the types of things we talk about here at Man of Letters. So, again, if you're new, feel free to subscribe to the channel, take shoes off, stay a while. To everyone who's been here for a while, thank you for your continued support. Love you guys. And I will open the... When you guys see me glancing down at my phone, by the way, I'm reading your guys' comments. So, that being said, let's get cracking into your guys' comments. Wow. Inception. Namaste, Trick NYC 123. Welcome. Haven't seen you in here before. Hello. Peace, Shaquana McDowell. Who else we got here? Too Sweet. Hey, Too Sweet. I just saw your review on my Etsy channel, by the way. And it was a very sweet and meaningful review. And I really appreciate that. Because people do read the reviews on the Etsy shops, and they do help me get sales. So, god damn it, thank you very much for helping me out. Sure, I could answer that question for you. Trick NYC123. There could be a number of reasons why you're not remembering your dreams. You could be not getting enough sleep. You could be smoking too much herb. You could be hella stressed. I know stress lowers the amount of time that you spend in REM sleep, and REM sleep is when you have most of your dreams. So, all the basics. Anytime anyone asks me any question ever, period, all the basics. Eat healthy food, including drinking lots of water. Get some rest, and get some exercise. Those are the three things. If you have any kind of illness, any kind of mental illness, any kind of physical illness, any type of disorder or dis-ease, or any type of things that aren't going the way you want them to go with your body or your mind, get healthy, organic, non-processed foods, drink lots of good water, get rest, get some exercise. That being said, there are things you can do which will increase the likelihood of you remembering your dreams. The first and most powerful tool of doing that is dream journaling. This is my dream journal. Whoa, was there something? Nice. Concentration is the root of all higher abilities in man. Every man takes the limits of his own field of vision for the limits of the world. Sometimes I just write little gems of knowledge in my journals, and then I stumble on them later, and I get really happy. Anywho, back to what I was saying. That's my dream journal. If you want to remember your dreams, it's very easy. Actually, I should say it's very simple, but it's not very easy. All you gotta do is get a piece of paper and a pen, put it next to your bed. Before you go to sleep, remind yourself that you're gonna remember your dreams. Fall asleep. When you wake up in the middle of the night or in the morning, write down whatever you remember. If you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and you're too tired to write something down, just write down 1 or 2 words that will remind you of what the dream is. I fucking swear to God, you will not remember when you wake up. We all tell ourselves that we're going to remember the dream when we wake up, and we never do. It's bullshit. Write down a couple words to remind yourself. When you wake up, write down everything you can. Guaranteed, 4 to 5 days later, if not sooner, you will start to remember more dreams, more dreams, more dreams. This happens without fail with everyone that I've told this to, with myself, everyone that I've read about doing this. It will help. And then there are supplements you can take, like certain herbs help you dream, or mugwort, for example, is a not notorious, but kind of notorious herb for dreaming, for vividness of dreams, for clarity of dreams, for um, what's the word I'm looking for? Very prophetic and revealing dreams. Mugwort's good for. Mexican dream herb is a very bitter herb used for dream recall, remembering dreams, vividness and color of dreams, and prophetic dreams. Those I make on my Etsy. If you were just listening when I thanked Too Sweet for leaving a review, she left a review on my Etsy because I make dream tinctures. They're not tinctures. They're called spagyrics. Kind of like tinctures, but next level. Not many people know about them. It's a different alchemical process. Yada yada yada. Um, but again, your most powerful thing is going to be a dream journal, and then get yourself some dreaming supplements. Google that shit. Ezekiel from The Walking Dead. Yes, I do. Hold on. This might be a little better. If I put my hair back and I tie it right here, then I make a lot better Ezekiel. Like, welcome to the kingdom. Rebooted mind. Welcome back, my dude. John Smith. Hello. Shaquana. Hello. Hello. Need sand blend. What? Oh, dream blend. Dream blend? Need dream blend. Something is wrong with my chat. Bird sex. That was a weird dream. I know sometimes I go through my dreams and I think, oh my God. I write calligraphy in my dream journal, but really sloppy, sketchy chicken scratch, almost made up calligraphy so that I can hardly read it. Because if someone were to get a hold of my dream journal, heaven forbid they can decipher it. Ash Kills, what's up? Glad you stumbled on it. Come on in, take your shoes off, stay a while. We're not going anywhere. Everyone say hello to Ash Kills. Hey, John Tango, what's up, man? Nice to see you. Everyone say what's up to John Tango. He's known me since, as he says, I was a baby of letters. He's known me probably since I was born, give or take a couple years. Hey, Papa Ken, what up? You're not behind, man. You are as a wise wizard by the name of Gandalf the Grey once said, "A wizard is never early nor late. He arrives exactly when he intends to." My bad. Come on. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to shoot off something right now. Bada bing, bada boom. All right. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Cool. Cool. All right, you guys. Any of you know how much time this video has been going for? Should we run it? It's already 9 o'clock. I know a lot of you guys are on the East Coast, especially if you came here, as Shaquana just mentioned, through Ashira's channel. For some reason, everyone that comes from Ashira's channel lives on the East Coast. I don't know how all y'all do it, but you're holding down the Eastern Front. And for that, I salute you. But it's late as hell over there. Art Campos, they killed him. The music playing in the background is the instrument is called a daduk, and it's from one of the Near Eastern countries. I want to say Turkey, but it could be, I don't know, all over that region. Ooh, I normally pour myself a glass of gin to get all fancy when I do these readings, but I ran out and I haven't had time to get more, so I might grab a Brukowski or a glass of mead if we have some, but we might have had all the mead last night, so I'm gonna step out from the video for just a moment, you guys. Talk amongst yourselves. If someone new comes into the room while I'm gone, explain them the situation and tell them they're not just hanging out in an empty ass room. Be back. Spooky spooks, what up? All right. Yeah. We have ran out of mead, but we have some brewkowskis. Because we get a bit parched when we read, you know what I mean? All right, you guys. Lupita, I'm glad you like the audiobooks. Sorry I've been slacking and I haven't made one in like half a year. That fucking I'll make one. What? Too sweet. I'm stoked. All right, we're gonna kick this off. You guys ready? You guys ready to kick off the audio the video? Natty Light? No, it's a it's called Trader Jose. It's from Trader Joe's, but it's their Mexican beer. So they called it Trader Jose instead of Trader Joe. Get it? Like Jose because it's a Mexican beer. Might be kind of racist, but I'm down. It's okay. Yeah, the Kybalion's my favorite. The Kybalion's my favorite, Lupita. I'm glad you like it. Curry. It's funny you mentioned planting because I just planted a whole bunch of frankincense and I ordered a whole bunch of more frankincense seeds and some Bursera seeds, which are copal, which is a cousin of the frankincense that grows in the deserts here in the southwest and North Mexico. So I'm fucking stoked on. I'm gonna have a frankincense and copal forest in the next 5 years or so, you guys. All right. As soon as I get a thumbs up from you guys, I'll start the reading. We're on you. You guys ready? Cool. Let me pull it up on my phone because I actually haven't pulled it up yet. Kybalion Index from Sacred Text. I don't know if you guys care to read along or not, but if you do, it's from the Sacred Texts. Kybalion, we are on chapter. What chapter are we on? 5, the mental universe, right? And here we go. Chapter 5 of the Kybalion, written by the 3 initiates. The mental universe. The universe is mental, held in the mind of the all. The all is spirit. But what is spirit? This question cannot be answered for the reason that its definition is practically that of the all, which cannot be explained or defined. Spirit is simply a name that men give to the highest conception of infinite living mind. It means the real essence. It means living mind, as much superior to life and mind as we know them, as the latter are superior to mechanical energy and matter. Spirit transcends our understanding, and we use the term merely that we may think or speak of the all. The purpose of thoughts and understanding, we are justified in thinking of spirit as infinite living mind, at the same time acknowledging that we cannot fully understand it. We must either do this or stop thinking of the matter at all. So, if you don't remember from the previous chapter, the best definition we could get for the all, the original thing, is that it's spirit. But it's also not spirit, because to define it as such is to limit it, and the all is without limitations because it is infinite, so it cannot have a definition. And this is what the introduction of this chapter is trying to say. Basically, it's saying the all is spirit. And it says, but what is spirit? No, well, we can't really answer that, because to answer that would be to define the all, and we can't do that. So we'll just leave it at spirit being the culmination of energy. It says we must either do this or stop thinking of the matter at all, because you know it's a mute point to think about. So carrying on, it says, let us now proceed to the consideration of the nature of the universe as a whole and in its parts. What is the universe? We have seen there can be nothing outside of the all. Then is the universe the all? No, this cannot. Well, this is before I go on. Um, this is important here, the chapter, because it's talking about the universe, and for a long time, people assumed the universe was God. Like they prayed to the universe as if the universe was the thing doing the giving, and it's not. The universe is not the thing doing the giving. Again, the universe is also a projection of this infinite mind. So it says, is the universe the all? No, this cannot be, because the universe seems to be made up of many and is constantly changing, and in other ways it does not measure up to the ideas that we are compelled to accept regarding the all, as stated in our last lesson. Then, if the universe be not the all, then it must be nothing. Such is the inevitable conclusion of the mind at first thought. But this will not justify the question, for we are sensible of the existence of the universe. Then, if the universe is neither the all nor nothing, what can it be? Let us examine this question. If the universe exists at all, or seems to exist, it must proceed in some way from the all. It must be a creation of the all. But as something can never come from nothing, from what could the all have created it? Some philosophers have answered this question by saying that the all created the universe from itself, that is, from the being and substance of the all. But this will not do, for the all cannot be subtracted from, nor divided, as we have seen. And then again, if this be so, would not each particle in the universe be aware of its being the all? The all could not lose its knowledge of itself, nor actually become an atom or blind force or lowly living thing. Some men, indeed, realizing that the all is indeed all, and also recognizing that they, the men, existed, have jumped to the conclusion that they and the all were identical, and they have filled the air with shouts of "I am God," to the amusement of the multitude and the sorrow of the sages. The claim of the corpuscle that "I am man" would be modest in comparison. And this is another heavy hitter that, reading this passage right here, was kind of what kind of shook me loose out of like the new age sort of spiritual paradigm. And what I mean by that is the new age sort of spiritual paradigm goes on and on about how people are God. Like, I am God, I am that thing. Which again, the sages would, that's what they say here, to the amusement of the multitude, meaning everyone else, and to the sorrow of the sages, because the sages know the truth. We are not God. We are no more God than Hamlet is Shakespeare, which we will get to soon. We are an aspect of that thing, but we are not that thing. It's anywho, carrying on. But what indeed is the universe, if be not the all, not yet created by the all, having separated itself into fragments? What else can it be? Of what else can it be made? This is the great question. Let us examine it carefully. We find here that the principle of correspondence comes to our aid. The old Hermetic axiom, as above, so below, may be pressed into service at this point. Let us endeavor to get a glimpse of the workings on higher planes by examining those on our own. The principle of correspondence must apply to this as well as to other problems. This is a tasty beer, and it's also, this is gold right here. The law of correspondence, which is the same thing as above, so below, is important because since the above is like the below, and since below is like the above, we can learn about the opposite by learning about one. We can learn about above by learning about below. We can learn about below by studying above. Law of correspondence. And the writers of this text do a beautiful job of putting that law in action. And we're going to do that right here, so pay attention. So he says, the principle of correspondence must apply, yada, yada, yada. Let us see. On his own plane of being, right, our plane below, how does man create? Well, first he may create by making something out of outside materials. So we're trying to figure out how the all creates by studying how man creates, right? Because as above, so below. If we learn how we create, we can figure out how the all creates. So it says first, so how does man create? First, he may create by making something out of outside materials. But this will not do, for there are no materials outside of the all which it may create, right? Because there's nothing outside of the all. The all is everything. It says, well, then secondly, man procreates or reproduces his kind by the process of begetting, which is self-multiplication accomplished by transferring a portion of his substance to his offspring. So that's the second way, having sex, basically. But this will not do, because the all cannot transfer or subtract a portion of itself, nor can it reproduce or multiply by itself. And in the first place, there would be a taking away, and in the second case, a multiplication or addition to the all, both thoughts being an absurdity. So it's saying the second way is by procreation, which it is calling an absurdity. And the reason why it's calling it an absurdity is because if you have a baby, there's now another one of you. You've multiplied. But there can't be another one of the all, because the all is everything. So it's ludicrous, to think that the all can multiply or procreate. So that one's off the table. So the third one, where are we at? It says, is there no third way in which man creates? Yes, there is. He creates mentally, and in so doing, he uses no outside materials, nor does he reproduce himself, and yet his spirit pervades the mental creation. Can I get a hello? There. Real talk. The third way man creates, which doesn't violate the laws of the all, is with the mind. This is how we know that the all creates with mind, because it doesn't violate anything. It doesn't have to go outside of itself to use its mind. What it does is it goes inside of itself. And this is why sages And scholars alike and philosophers alike say that we are in a dream, a matrix, whatever you want to call it, because the all must go inside to create infinite worlds. Like J.R. Tolkien wrote The Lord of the Rings. He wrote 2 or 3 different languages with 2 or different dialects within those languages, 2 different alphabets, races with their own history and names and weaponry and lore and mythology. And he created a universe in his mind. And not until he put it on paper did it enter this world. But that doesn't mean it didn't exist, right? It existed somewhere. So we'll carry on. Following the principle of correspondence, we are justified in considering that the all creates the universe mentally, in a manner akin to the process whereby man creates mental images. And here is where the report of reason tallies precisely with the report of the illumined, as shown by their teachings and writings. Such are the teachings of the wise men. Such was the teaching of Hermes. The all can create in no other way except mentally, without either using material, and there is none to use, or else reproducing itself, which is also impossible. There is no escape from this conclusion of the reason, which, as we have said, agrees with the highest teachings of the illumined. Just as you, student, may create a universe of your own in your mentality, so does the all create universes in its own mentality. But your universe is the mental creation of a finite mind, whereas that of the all is the creation of an infinite. The two are similar in kind, but infinitely different in degree. We shall examine more closely into the process of creation and manifestation as we proceed. But this is the point to fix in your minds at this stage. The universe and all it contains is a mental creation of the all. Verily, indeed, all is mind. The all creates in its infinite mind countless universes which exist for eons of time, and yet to the all the creation, development, decline, and death of a million universes is as the time of the twinkling of an eye. Shit goes deep, you guys. The principle of gender is Damn it. I hate noise pollution. It's like my fucking biggest pet peeve. I Okay. The principle of gender is manifested on all planes of life, material, mental, and spiritual. But as we have said before, gender does not mean sex. Sex is merely a material manifestation of gender. Gender means relating to the generation or creation. And whenever anything is generated or created on any plane, the principle of gender must be manifested, and this is true even in the creation of universes. Now, do not jump to the conclusion that we are teaching that there is a male and female God or creator. That idea is merely a distortion of the ancient teachings on the subject. The true teaching is that the all in itself is above gender, as it is above every other law, including those of time and space. It is the law. It is the law from which the laws proceed, and it is not subject to them. But when the all manifests on the plane of generation or creation, then it acts according to law and principle, for it is moving on a lower plane of being, and consequently it manifests the principle of gender in its masculine and feminine aspects on the mental plane, of course. So basically what this is getting at is it's saying that it introduces another one of the principles of the Hermetic philosophy, the law of gender, which we haven't gotten to yet. But the law of gender basically says everything in existence is made up of two different qualities of energy, one being masculine and one being feminine. And this doesn't mean man and woman. Man and woman are themselves manifestations of these qualities of energy. But as we just learned in law of correspondence, above and below must also contain masculine and feminine. So you think about man, a very raw, a very physical, dense manifestation of gender. Um, man has a penis and a woman has a vagina. Um, you see it in plants. The masculine part of a plant has the stigma or the stamen. Well, the stigma, and the female has the stamen. It receives, right? There's a impulse that shoots out, which is the masculine energy, and there is a receptive quality of energy that receives information, and that's the feminine. And that's all this is saying. It's saying that it exists in us, in our bodies, in our minds, right brain, left brain, creative logic, right? We see that split of gender, of qualities as they arrive. And then we see it in the heavens, right? We're going to get to the heavens eventually. This idea may seem startling to some of you who hear it for the first time, but you have all really passively accepted it in your everyday conceptions. You speak of the fatherhood of God and the motherhood of nature, the divine father and the nature, the universal mother, and have thus instinctively acknowledged the principle of gender in the universe. Is this not so? But the Hermetic teachings does not imply a real duality. The all is one. The two aspects are merely aspects of manifestation. The teaching is that the masculine principle manifested by the all stands in a way apart from the actual mental creation of the universe. It projects its will toward the feminine principle, which may be called nature, whereupon the latter begins the actual work of the evolution of the universe, from simple centers of activity on to man, and then on and on still higher, all according to the well-established and firmly enforced laws of nature. If you prefer the old figures of thought, you may think of the masculine principle as God the Father and of the feminine principle as nature, the universal mother, from whose womb all things have been born. This is more than a mere poetic figure of speech. It is an idea of the actual process of the creation of the universe. But as always, remember the all is but one, and that in its infinite mind the universe is generated, created, and exists. It may help you to get the proper idea if you will apply the law of correspondence to yourself and your own mind. You know that the part of you which you call I, in a sense, stands apart and witnesses the creation of mental images in your own mind. The part of your mind in which the mental generation is accomplished may be called the me, in distinction from the I, which stands apart and witnesses and examines the thoughts, ideas, and images of me. As above, so below. Remember, and the phenomena of one plane may be employed to solve the riddles of higher or lower planes. That was kind of confusing. The I and the me thing took me forever to figure out. Basically, what it's saying is it's trying to give you an idea to picture how this works in your mind. You have thoughts and emotions. That's me. Like I have contained these thoughts and emotions. That's me. But then I notice that I'm having thoughts and emotions, and that's the I. That's the distinction between I and me. Like I have an arm, right? Me. I am made up of my arm. This is me. But it is not I, because if you chopped off my arm, I would still be me. I, right? It's weird. It's like a weird play on words. But still, there's a distinction, right? There's a distinction. There is a distinction between things that we are going through and being able to witness those things that we are going through. And it's a very serious, not serious, but it's a very notable experience to have. And the reason why is because at the end of the chapter it says just this. Remember, the phenomena of one plane may be employed to solve the riddles of higher or lower planes. And the reason why is because as above, so below. Below, we all come from the same thing. Therefore, laws apply to every single plane, whether it be the mental or the material or the spiritual plane. They all operate by the same laws. They're all extensions. They're all parts of this universe. And to understand one is to understand them all. Is it any wonder that you, the child, feel that instinctive reverence for the all, which feeling we call religion, that respect and reverence for the Father mind? Is it any wonder that when you consider the works and wonders of nature, you are overcome with a mighty feeling which has its roots way down in your innermost being? It is the mother mind that you are pressing close up to, like a babe to the breast, or a mouth to the Brukowski. Do not make the mistake of supposing that the little world you see around you, the earth, which is a mere grain of dust in the universe, is the universe itself. There are millions upon millions of such worlds and greater. And there are millions of such universes in existence within the infinite mind of the all. And even in our own little solar system, there are regions and planes of life far higher than ours, and beings compared to which we earthbound mortals are as the slimy life forms that dwell in the ocean's bed when compared to man. There are beings with powers and attributes higher than man has ever dreamed of the gods possessing. And yet these beings were once as you, and still lower. And you will be even as they, and still higher in time. For such is the destiny of man as reported by the illumined. And death is not real, even in the relative sense. It is but birth to a new life, and you shall go on and on and on to higher and still higher planes, for eons upon eons of time. The universe is your home, and you shall explore its farthest recesses before the end of time. You are dwelling in the infinite mind of the all, and your possibilities and opportunities are infinite, both in time and in space. And at the end of the grand cycle of eons, when the all shall draw back into itself all of its creations, you will go gladly, for you will then be able to know the whole truth of being at one with the all. Such is the report of the illumined, those who have advanced well along the path. And in the meantime, rest calm and serene. You are safe and protected by the infinite power of the Father, Mother, Mind. Within the Father, Mother, Mind, mortal children are at home. There is not one who is fatherless nor motherless in the universe. The Kybalion. Done with chapter 5. I'm going to catch up with you guys' comments. Thanks for being here. Chakras and Chasers. How's it going? Self-loving goddess. Thank you for being here. Isha baby. What a doo-doo boo-boo. Welcome to the squad. Curry, you've been here, but what's up? She loves health and beauty. Thanks for being here, and thanks for the lovely notes. Appreciate it. Thanks, you guys. I'm catching up on your guys' comments real quick, just to see if there's Gardenia Moon. Gardenia has a special place in my heart. Refa Sunshine, thank you. I'm glad you liked it. Cool. So if you guys have any questions after that, feel free to ask them. I know John Smith asked me a question, so I'll get to that in just a second. Bartender, another beer, please. Could you imagine if I had a bartender in here and he would just say, "Yeah, sure, one beer coming up, buddy," and then hit me with a brewkowski? All right, hold on. Oh. Okay. John Smith asks, if someone creates mentally, isn't a part of them in that creation? Would that not mean they have been duplicated? Duplicated? No. That does not mean you've been duplicated. Again, imagine J.R.R. Tolkien, the writer of Lord of the Rings. Every character in Lord of the Rings is an extension of J.R.R. Tolkien. They came from his mind, but they're not duplicates of him. You know, there's certain aspects of his mind. There are certain mental projections of his mind, but they're not him. You know, they're thoughts, they're words on the page. To duplicate Tolkien, you would have to literally take his DNA and clone him and make another one of him. And then you would have two Tolkiens. That's what a duplicate is. And no, the all can't duplicate itself because, again, there's nothing outside of the all in which to duplicate from. That's the whole thing. My computer's going crazy. But ooh, I think we just got a sale on Etsy. Did we? Nope, we didn't. I don't know what that was. All right, back to your guys' comments. No. I am alone tonight. It's just me and my candles and my books. Well, I'm gonna try to fix my computer real quick. All right, where were we? Any more questions? You guys have anything else you wanted to ask or anything you wanted to share with that last chapter? Because that one is definitely a pivotal chapter because it's the origin of everything. It's like the OG axiom of the entire philosophy. Death is not final. I was actually just thinking about this the other day. Death is like, so death and life are the same thing to varying degree. This is what we also learn in the Kybalion, that opposites are the same. So love and hate are the same. Life and death are the same. The only difference is where on the spectrum are you looking. And a good example of that is I use all the time is temperature. Right? 90 degrees and 30 degrees. Same thing. Temperature. You're measuring heat energy. The only difference is where on the scale are you looking at. If you're looking at 90, you would say, okay, that's hot. If you're looking at 30 Fahrenheit, you would say, okay, that's cold. But again, those might be hot and cold to you. To certain bacteria, they don't live in anything colder than 200 degrees Fahrenheit because it's too cold for them, right? So to them, 200 degrees is cold and 400 degrees is hot. You know what I mean? So everything is and isn't at the same time. So in in reference to death and life, it's saying death is not final. It's just a birth into something else. Yeah. So no, death is not final, you guys. She Loves Health and Beauty asked what my view on the book The Secret versus the Kybalion. My views on the book The Secret in comparison to the Kybalion is this. The Secret is like one poorly written section of one of the principles of the Kybalion. It works. It's really good in motivation and getting the energies where they should be, which is the name of the game, right? Energy is the name of the game. So it does a wonderful job in getting people motivated and focused, which is a lot. So I give The Secret that, but it's far too underdeveloped, and it leans far too heavily on motivation and inspiration, which is great, but motivation and inspiration are emotions. And as you guys know, emotions are fleeting, just like everything else in the universe is. Emotions come and they go. And The Secret banks off of emotions. You watch The Secret and you feel like you can build the pyramids of Giza by yourself. And you might be able to. But, 4 days after you're done watching The Secret and the energy is gone, you're back to square one with woe is me. And that's because, again, it's poorly underdeveloped, in my opinion, The Secret. The corresponding element to the Kybalion and The Secret is the law of vibration. Law of vibration is, I believe, one of the laws of the Kybalion. And it says everything in existence is moving, is vibrating. Everything. Thoughts are. Mike. Have I ever experienced an ego death? Yes. Yes, I have. Can you guys still hear me, by the way? Okay, cool. My bad. That was a super reroute of the mind. Vibration. The law of vibration states that everything is in movement. The Kybalion then speaks of something called resonance, and resonance is what The Secret should be talking about. So, The Secret says, you think about something and you attract it into your life. Poorly written. What it should have said is, thoughts and actions carry vibrations, right? It got that far. But those vibrations resonate with other things. So resonance isn't an attraction. Attraction pulls something towards you like a magnet. Resonance doesn't work that way. If there's two violins in a room, this is a perfect example. There's two violins in a room, and they're both tuned, say to the E strings are both tuned to the same tuning, right? They were tuned to the same thing. If you play one E string on a violin, the vibration of that E string will send waves through the room, and they will make the E string on the other violin vibrate without being touched. So you pluck one violin and the other one vibrates without being touched. through something that's called resonance. Um, Kind of like when you hear the woman sing, the opera sing, and she hits that falsetto note, and you see the glass start to vibrate and then it shatters. That's resonance, because she's matching the frequency of that glass, and it causes that glass to vibrate. That's what the secret is getting at. Not attraction. It's not law of attraction. It's the law of vibration, that everything in existence vibrates, and that vibration releases a frequency. Why that's important, I don't exactly know. I wrote about this in my book a whole bunch. I explained it in the book as, say you're walking down the street, and there's a street performer playing music, and say there's only 2 out of every 10 people are dancing. So you have these vibrations that are going out into the world, and only 2 out of 10 people are dancing. Let's say you're one of those 10 people. Why are you dancing? You're dancing because you like the music. It moves you, right? You like it so much that you're dancing like a fool in front of strangers in a public place. That's how much you like it. You've almost been possessed. You've been evoked. You've been stimulated by sound. So, just like the violin string, it matched your frequency and made you dance. So, what I explain in the book is, and I'll try to explain now, is we want the world to dance to our song. We evoke the world. We don't attract things into our lives. We stimulate our surrounding world. We stimulate it with our thoughts, which lead to actions, which lead to conversations, which lead to serendipitous and synchronistic events, again, because we're stimulating a certain type of resonance in our world. And that is why I have such harsh criticism on The Secret, and why I say it's poorly written or poorly developed, because it's just a bandwagon. They get a whole bunch of people with a bunch of really feel good things to say from really high up spiritual places. Like, it's fucking marketing 101. You know, if you want to sell Bayer aspirin, you put a doctor on the front saying, doctors recommend Bayer aspirin, right? You see the guy with the fucking stethoscope around his neck and a white coat, and you go, oh, he's a doctor, he knows what he's talking about. They did the same thing in The Secret. They threw a whole bunch of fucking people high up in the spiritual world, and everyone's like, oh, law of attraction, these spiritual people, he's got dreadlocks, he must know what he's talking about. You know what I mean? They just, like, it was brilliant marketing. If that's what you want to know about The fucking Secret, you guys want to market your products, study The Secret. I mean, even the name, The Secret, like, ooh, what's the secret? I want to know what the secret is. Everyone wants to know what fucking secrets are, you know? But however, with all that coming in hot as fuck on The Secret, it did do a fabulous job in getting people into the world of questioning what's real and what's not. What's possible? What's the mind possible of? What's the body capable of? What thoughts do I have? Why do I have them? Are they serving me? You know, all these sort of really introspective types of things. The Secret did for me and a fuck ton of other people. But I don't think, you know, I don't know. That's it. That's all I have to say about The Secret. um, Reading your guys' comments again. Abraham Hicks, what up? Jay Leah. I'm glad, because that's the whole That's why I love learning this stuff and teaching it, because it's like, in order to teach something, I have to understand it so thoroughly that I need to explain it in even a shorter amount of words than how I learned it, which forces me to learn shit really well. So I'm glad that it's working. I'm glad that it's helping you guys. By the way, curry. Yeah, look it up. Yeah, actually, one of you guys look up the definition for resonance right now and post it in the comment section. Like, look it up. Read the actual definition. It's. You guys are gonna be shocked when you see the definition for resonance as it is in the dictionary. Oh, Bree, nice to have you here. How's it going? I'm gonna try and keep up with you guys' comments real quick right now. Reading right now. Hold on. What? Ooh, too sweet. That second definition. Isn't that just the pearliest bit of wisdom you done ever did see? I'm gonna read that. Physics, the reinforcement or prolongation of sound by reflection from a surface or by the synchronous vibration of a neighboring object. Isn't that fucking beautiful, you guys? That's gold right there. That's gold. The reinforcement or prolongation of sound by the reflection from a surface or by the synchronous vibration of a neighboring object. That's like, definition is just loaded with occult knowledge. In that one sentence, you could study that for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? And some people do. Um, cool. Did I miss any of you guys' questions? Oh, my shoulder's kind of jacked up. Hold on. Jay Lee asked, "Do you believe in something like a soul fam? People who match your vibe. You meet along the way. They keep you within your path like guides, but you don't know." Am I crazy? I don't know, man. You could be crazy, or we could all be crazy. um, a soul fam? I would like to think there's such thing as a soul fam. I would like to think that there's such thing as like a squadron of familiar souls that we kind of carry with us from lifetime to lifetime. That feels right, you know? Also, Jilly, I can't read some of your comments. They're not making any. What are the fucking secret? What's the key? What? Um. Oh, what up, baby? What up, baby mama? Everyone say hi to Mage Janae Beauty. Ain't she a beauty? Really romantic. Yeah, that's the thing with soulmates too. Like, if there's such thing as a soulmate, then that means, actually, I don't know what that means. Does that mean it can be like an intimate soulmate with a man and a woman, like in a romantic kind of love, or like a platonic type of friendship sort of soulmate? Um, or like a between parents, right? Because if a soulmate, here's why I don't necessarily or haven't necessarily bought into soulmates too much is because a soulmate implies that you are somehow not whole, because you need this other person to complete you. And that might be me just being way too overly individualistic, which, to be fair, I can be sometimes. But nonetheless, I don't know. There's so many definitions on soulmates. Everyone's got their version of soulmate. There's souls get split in half and then they come down here, or souls choose to come together up there, and then down here it's like some sort of agreement, like business agreement that was signed in outer space, and then we came down here to fulfill that. That's another variation of the soulmates. I don't fucking know. I don't know. But that being said, as we just learned with resonance, there is such a thing as having a vibration very, very similar to someone else for whatever reason and vibing with them. Stupid ass fucking candles. Rebooted Mind asks, what's the philosophical point of not remembering our past lives? I have no fucking clue. I feel there's no point in not remembering our past. Actually, I take that back. All right, this might not be the point of not remembering, but it's certainly a byproduct of forgetting is remembering. So I you guys got to get my book. We're going to read my book after the Kybalion on live. So you guys should get my book called 7 Pillars by Keyth Garcia. Look it up on Amazon. It's cheap as hell. It's like fucking $13 plus shipping. Maybe not shipping. I think if you have Prime, you don't even have to pay shipping. Anywho, what was I? What was I saying? Shit, someone bring me back. We're talking about when you guys asked me a question. Is that what triggered it? Ooh, remembering past lives. That's right. Here's a good example I use in the book. This is really weird, but something I used to do when I was a kid. But I would, before taking a shower, I would or not even shower or jacuzzis. I would make myself really cold before getting into the shower. And the reason why is because when I was really cold going into the shower, the warmth of the shower felt that much better. There's something to be said about contrast that we cannot fucking get away from. Humans and nature, beauty in general, loves contrast. Doesn't matter what the contrast is, as long as there is a stark contrast, then people love it. I mean, in photography, you say there's on your guys' Instagram, there's something called contrast, and what that do is it sharpens the edges of things, right? It makes things more defined so that the image pops out more because the contrast is higher. Like having a field of white roses and there's one red rose in the middle, that's a contrast. That red rose stands out and it's beautiful. One red rose and a football field of white is breathtaking, and vice versa. Red roses with one white is breathtaking. Why? Because of the contrast. I think forgetting has something to do with that. Not everything to do, and maybe I don't think that's the reason why we forget, but I do know that as a result, the forgetting allows us to remember. And I've had that thought during ego deaths from taking certain things where I was like, oh my God, I feel like I plugged in to the infinite. And I was like, oh shit, that's why. Like, that's why I forget. And that's why I remember. It's like we forget so that we can remember again. And like the cycle goes on. Um, but then there gets to a point where it's like, all right, I'm tired of fucking forgetting. Can I remember for like 5 or 6 lifetimes in a row and get some momentum for myself and then forget, So that's tough. While I study these things, you guys, I'm not that much further ahead than you guys are. All your guys' questions, I have the same goddamn ones. It looks like I'm in a cave. I could be in a cave. Do 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 do. Thanks, 7SH. We did make it fast. I'm reading you guys' comments right now. Is there anything deeper than the Kybalion? She loves health and beauty asks. Yeah, I'm sure there's a ton of stuff deeper than the Kybalion. I like the Kybalion so much because it's concise, It's the first source of knowledge I came across that contained all the other source of knowledge I've ever come across, all in one book, minus the gods and goddesses and deities and spirits and nymphs and you know what I mean, higher self, and there's a lot of terminology that comes with spirituality, and it's hard to keep up with. And to me, a lot of it feels like jargon. Like, you guys know what jargon is, right? Jargon is like a set of terms that people use in a field, like jargon for text messaging, BRB back in the day. Used be right back. That's text jargon from like AOL Instant Messenger days. Or TTYL, talk to you later. That's internet jargon. But there's jargon in the spiritual world that like higher self, for example. That's one that I see all the time, and people talk about your higher self, this and the higher self that, and I don't understand what the hell that means. I don't think anyone does, because when I ask people about it, they can't give me a straight answer, and I think the reason why is because they hear someone else talking about the higher self and they go, okay, that makes sense, I guess. He's wearing or she's wearing really cool robes or something, and they're inside of a Buddhist temple. They must know what they're talking about. Higher self, right? But I when you contact your higher self to do shit. So you're saying there is this consciousness in this body, and then there is an identical consciousness, like in a cockpit in outer space, going beep boop beep boop, guiding me and directing me and doing shit like that. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. I feel like I am my higher self in this body, and because I'm here on Earth in a third dimension, going about life and all these fucking structures that society's put up, that I'm just performing like all the other humans. I don't. That's what I mean. That's why I like the Kybalion so much, because it takes away all that. It takes away all the spirit guides and the spirit animals and the shamans and the priests and the scholars. It takes away everything and just says, here's a philosophy, right? It's not a religion. It's not a creed. It's just a philosophy, an idea of the mechanics of life. Here they are presented to you. There's 7 of them. Do they make sense to you? You read it for yourself. I read it for myself and went, holy shit. From shamanism to paganism to voodoo to Norse mythology and Greek and Egyptian and Indian, Chinese and Taoist and Buddhism, everything had these same principles: polarity, as above, so below, the law of vibration, cause and effect is one of the laws. Um, Rhythm is one of the laws, right? That you'll always swing back and forth. The pendulum always swings back and forth, night and day, high tide, low tide, happy, sad, courageous, and fearful, love and hate. You're always, the energy is always like a fucking pendulum to the end of time. Um, so when you ask me, is there anything deeper than this? My answer is yes. There's probably tons of stuff. I know for sure there's tons of stuff that goes deeper than the Kybalion, because when you're talking about deep, like deep is infinite. We live in an infinite universe, so there's no rock bottom. In other words, you can go as deep as you want. You can go as high as you want. You can go as deep as you want. So is there deeper than the Kybalion? Absolutely. I would say the Kybalion isn't really that deep at all. It's actually very cut and dry, very simple. It says these are the laws. This is how the universe operates. Now go about your adventures into the darkness of the abyss and learn. But with this information, you are now the chess player instead of the chess piece. The rules of the game don't change by knowing this information. You're not changing the rules. You're not breaking the rules. You're simply applying one rule to another. Um, the chess player instead of the chess piece. So, what I recommend when people ask me about this shit, where do I start? I say the Kybalion, and I say that because it's a perfect start. It's like 101 to spirituality. It's 101 to anything. No matter what type of crazy, weird shit you want to get into, this is probably the best place to start. Checking back in with you guys' comments. Deja vu. um, I'm reading your guys' comments right now. Self-loving God is what up. Jay, too sweet. So your definition for the part of us that is simultaneously existing in the higher realms, um, that's part of what I'm saying. It says our higher self is the part of us that exists in the higher dimensions. But who is behind the awareness of the person in the other dimension? To say that there is me and there is me that's living in a higher dimension is to say that I can communicate with, is to say that there's me who is seeing this statue of Anubis, holding it, talking to you guys, and that there's higher self Keyth in the higher dimension who is going about his life looking at objects and talking to friends and flying in spaceships or whatever the fuck you do in the next dimension up. But then it seems like to be two different people. So it's not my higher self. Because how can I don't know. That's what I mean. It doesn't, like, are they doing things? Are they eating food? Do they have their own lives that they're living? Or are they just staring at us every second of every day? And if so, that just seems weird that my higher self is just like sitting up in a room somewhere, just with a consciousness looking at me going, up, oh, go left, go right, go, stop, turn around. I don't know, whatever else. Don't stab him. Um, all right. I think I think. Is there any questions that slipped through the cracks? What up, Jess? Gardenian Moon. Do I consider myself an adept, novice, or someone in between? I don't know. I would consider myself probably a novice, to be honest with you. On the entire spectrum, maybe not even a novice yet. Like, if you were to pick me out randomly from 100 people walking down the street, I would probably be a master. But if you were to pick me out from everyone living on the entire planet, I would probably not even be a novice yet. Because I've met some people who are on the hermetic kick who talk about shit, and I'm just like, what? Mind fucked at some of these things. Um, Not to mention that there's a whole hands-on side of hermeticism that's that's gets deeper into, how do I say this? Not rituals, but like mechanics of the physical world in terms of how to like they dive into the elements and spirit bodies of minerals. Like certain minerals have certain attributes. Um, and knowing that you can do all kinds of weird shit with minerals, for example. Then there's water and fire. There's that world of alchemy and hermetics that I had know nothing about, for example. So I would, depends on who you're comparing me to, but I guess I'm somewhere in between a novice and come on. I hmm, come on. All right, here we go. My bad, you guys. Lost you for a second there. Um, is there a relationship between the Kybalion and the Kabbalah? Yeah, I haven't studied the Kabbalah. I've started reading a bit of the Kabbalah, and that shit was. There's a lot of similarities, especially the as above, so below idea is like built. The Kabbalah is built on the back of that. It's dark some places too, but fascinating. The Kabbalah is, from what I read, a little more on the religious side. Um, like what I was reading was talking about the origin of evil, and for example, and it gave the most brilliant definition or case for why evil exists. And here it is. It's fucking hot in here. Um, the Kabbalah describes evil as a necessity because you have actually this is a case for the ego, which is where I get a lot of my. Whenever I talk about the ego and the necessity for the ego, this is where I'm pulling my information from. I get it from my studies in the Kabbalah, which talk about the ego as being the illusion of separation from source, Um, and the quote unquote evil. This separation. So the fall of Lucifer, right? He's separated from God. He descends down to our planet. Metaphorically speaking, that's the fall of from grace, the ego. But in order to have an experience outside of oneness, what do you have to have? You have to have an ego. You take away your ego, you are what? You are back into oneness, which is a beautiful experience, but it's only one kind of experience, oneness. If you want to have an infinite amount of experiences, you come out here. You exist in the mind of the all as a rock, as a flame, as a thought, as a human, as Keyth, as John Smith, as Chakras and Chasers, as Too Sweet, as Lupita. Who the hell else is in this word? Curry. Um, this fucking lamp over here to my right, all the infinite amount of things in existence are all different variations of an ego, which is a lens that that not only separates you from oneness, but allows you to see your own unique vantage, which is the cause of all evil, according to the Kybalion. This is the root of evil. But a necessity, a necessary evil, because you want to have experiences, right? Like, I know people hate on Earth and humanity, but there's some fucking like. Have you ever watched the sunset with a newborn? Like that is probably it's indescribable. It's indescribable. It's indescribable. Um, and I could have only had the opportunity to watch a sunset with my newborn son if I had the ego of this existence, which gives the opportunity for great love, like the newborn sunset, and great hate and terror, like the Holocaust, right? Um, so you take away the ego. This is what the Kabbalah teaches. The Kabbalah goes deep. The Kabbalah goes super deep. You take away the ego. You take away hate as it's seen on Earth, but you take away love as it's seen on Earth. So, um, so what do you do? It's the age-old plot. That's um, very interesting perspective on all that. Is Hollywood magic? Hollywood's probably magic as fuck. You guys know what Hollywood is, right? Holly is a type of tree that they use for magic and making wands and shit forever. You guys have seen Harry Potter. My wand is made out of holly with a phoenix tail. Hollywood, the wood of a holly tree is what Hollywood's named after. So fuck yeah, it's magic. You guys kidding me? Like, I don't go deep into Hollywood symbolism, but shit's there. Like, shit's fucking there. In Las Vegas, showman magic. Sleep deprivation from a newborn is evil. Rebooted mind. Do you have kids? Um, Amen, Jay Lee. Is lucid dreaming all of the time. Yeah. Yeah. Jess, I don't know about the 5 coaches. Reminds me of a variety of pickles. The 5 coaches. The rosemary, yeah, the rosemary. Rosemary is good for focus and concentration, which helps a lot late at night because I get tired and start to lose focus. Oh my goodness. It smells amazing. It smells absolutely amazing. It's rosemary oil, you guys. I'm smelling rosemary oil. I distill plants in my backyard, and one of my favorites is rosemary, and it smells amazing. Cochadillas. That I used the. It's also rosemary. This jar has rosemary, pure rosemary oil in it. And then this is rosemary hydrosol, which is the other the other byproduct of steam distillation. Partly comes out pure oil, and what else comes out is hydrosol, which is the minerals that dissolved into the water instead of the oils that dissolved into the water. So it has some oil in it, but it's different combination of the plant. But it does the same shit. It's basically like rosemary oil, except not as strong. And I spray it on my face because it's good for the skin and it wakes me up. Keeps the skin fresh. It's also good for your hair. I use it for my hair a lot. Chris Jack, what up? All right, y'all, dookie faces. What's cracking? We cutting this video out or what? It's already 10:20. $120. 123. That's right. I complain about the time and you forget you guys are on the East Coast. Yeah, curry. I sell it on my Etsy page. I sell the oil. Oh, I don't sell the oil because it's my prized possession. I like to keep it for myself. But I sell the hydrosol. If you want, sometimes I sell the oil if you guys want the oil. I'm throwing up a link to the Etsy shop, y'all. For those of you that want to support the channel, you can do so on my Etsy spot. Not only do you support the channel, but you get cool shit. I make beeswax candles with essential oils and make my own hydrosol. It's dope. I've got a perfume cooking coming up pretty soon. Yeah, but that's why. You want the oil? Someone messaged me about wanting the oil, and I forgot to message her back, so I don't think she wants it anymore. But if you want the oil, message me, and I will. But like I said, I don't have much of it. I mean, you guys have seen my videos on how cool does that look? That looks fucking awesome. What up? It like glistens in the candlelight. How fucking cool is that? Just message me. I'll sell you some rosemary oil for sure. Just shoot me a message and I'll make a custom listing for you and I'll just send it to you like in a private message. Yeah, look it up. Look up rosemary hydrosol